countries that people are still allowed to have guns, but you need to like see, be interviewed by a doctor, by a psychologist. There needs to be a mandatory waiting period. There needs to be all this stuff. You can still own guns, but it's just at this point in the U.S., it's like, God damn, we don't want all those crazy Republicans having guns. So what are we supposed to do? I mean, I would love to know your opinion on that. I'm sorry for talking so much.
You're good. I'm just starting up a new YouTube Shorts stream. I usually reset it halfway through if I start like lagging when it comes to the algorithm, and I need like callers.
Okay.
It's hard to find people to debate some nights, especially weeknights. It's really tough.
Yeah.
But
I'm really bad at debating, by the
oh
way.
no, I mean no, this is fine. If I don't, because I
No,
usually
no,
only
like
take
if I'm
friendly
debating a right winger.
conversations. Oh yeah, for sure. But
Yeah,
yeah, I only
I'm
take
just,
friendly
I
conversations if
have
I
good
don't have any
points.
debates like ready for me. So like, there's no one calling in right now. So
Okay.
we usually have more chill conversations during that period. But hopefully, if I restart it, then we'll have more people that are gonna be hopping in, so we can go for that. But on guns right now, very basic. I think like a vast majority of Americans agree with some type of background check, like a very basic background check, and also just initiatives to offer gun safety courses, that kind of stuff. It really is. Many deaths for children are accidental. Um,
No.
so that is a big issue. So if we push for policies like that to make it a little bit safer, that's a big thing. When it comes to preventing like shootings and stuff, we are really, I don't even think that's going to be a conversation that we can even have at all in the next few years. And I don't think it's a conversation we even probably should bring up that often, unless if something bad happens. Obviously, you could talk about different regulations or what we need to do. But I don't see any reasonable policy path for us to really advocate for these things without completely betraying a voter base that will just like stop voting for Democrats.
It's like at this point, I mean, if somebody brings up guns, though, we do need to have something to talk about, you know, because they're going to talk about, hey, what's your stance on guns? And I mean, New England, there are people who will, they have a fucking arsenal in their house, but they will be like, yeah, of course, abortion should be legal. Of course, universal health care should be a human right. And it's like, but yeah, I'm gonna, they might not have an AR-15. Probably don't. I mean, when I went to college, I went to Maine Maritime Academy up in Maine, and
Mm-hmm.
it was, oh my God. I work on ships. It's like, but Maine, that college was one of the most conservative colleges.
Yeah, you get that in some of those
And
states. And by the way, if you're watching the stream, drop a like on the stream, hit subscribe. If anyone calls in and wants to debate, I'll answer your call. We're just chatting right now. But if you have a debate, call in to the number. I open up the phone lines. If you're watching, drop likes. We need people to talk that are from the Trump perspective, and you guys are hiding tonight. So please hop in if you do see the stream. But yeah, you can finish that point.
all right, yeah. So it was just like basically, a lot of people up there had a lot of guns, and I mean, mostly Maine's weird. It's like, down south in Maine, it's like very progressive. Then the further up you go, it gets very conservative. Um, and I was like kind of down east, northern on the coast, but about 45 minutes south of Acadia, if you know where that is. Um,
Oh, I'm getting a call.
but
I'm sorry. I don't mean to cut you off. I am
oh
getting
no,
a
it's
call. We're
fine.
going to see if it's
Yeah.
bad. But thank you for calling.
Call from
Jacob.
Howdy.
Hello.
How's it going?
It's going well, and how are you?
It's going all right.
It's going all right. Well, we don't gotta tell everything, do we? So I was watching the stream, and you said someone from a Trump perspective called in. I heard that, and I said, well, I guess maybe I have a Trump perspective to share. So I don't know what the topic is, but I guess I'm coming from a perspective of someone who's not against Trump. I don't oppose Trump.
I definitely oppose Trump. So like my big things, Trump is pretty pro-corruption. He's anti-programs that benefit the poorest Americans. He's against due process, and he's also against checks and balances of the Constitution. So those are really big things right now.
And which topic of those that you listed would you like to talk about?
I don't know. We can talk about diversity. We can talk about anything really, whatever you want to talk about.
Well, you introduced a topic. I mean, you listed a lot of
I don't
things
care.
that you
I talked
said.
to I have probably taken 500 callers in the past 4 weeks. I need to. What's your favorite topic?
I don't know. I mean, foreign policy probably
Foreign policy. What kind of foreign policy?
in general.
Like Ukraine.
Oh yeah. What do you think we should do? What should our strategy be? And of course, us as people who aren't involved in the State Department, it's difficult to really ascertain what's happening. So it's hard to really even propose a strategy for U.S.
Well,
diplomacy.
we should not be lying and saying Zelensky's the dictator. We should not be covering for Russia like Trump is when Russia's striking hospitals and child care centers in Ukraine on purpose,
but
and when Russia's
that
kidnapping children.
that's
So
irrelevant. You listed a bunch of irrelevant things. Whenever you talk about
that's all very relevant, by the way. The propaganda
no,
around these
no,
wars is one of the key things that matters.
Listen,
If you don't understand
listen.
that, you don't understand the complexities of modern
Okay, well, you didn't
geopolitical
even let me
warfare.
speak before you moved the goalposts. So excuse me while I respond to something that you'd said previously. You said that Trump has some relation with Putin that you don't agree with, and you don't agree with that relation that Trump has with Putin because Putin did what? Committed war crimes.
Putin has done every bad thing you could do as a leader. He's untrustworthy. He breaks ceasefires. He breaks
Okay,
treaties.
that's fine, but I'm not.
He puts
Look,
bounties on American troops.
we have different perspectives on things. My goal in diplomacy for the U.S., or the way that I would imagine it should be handled, is not with this petty moral grievance against people who do bad things. The world's a fucking nasty place.
It's not a petty moral grievance. You're the one approaching this with emotional frameworks. Say your opinion.
Oh my gosh. You are such a terrible interlocutor. At most because you're so aggressive.
Okay. If you say something about Putin and him being untrustworthy, that matters, right?
Well, I think it's irrelevant. No, I think it's irrelevant.
How is that irrelevant if we want a deal between Russia and Ukraine if Putin cannot be trusted?
Well, let's see what he violates. I think that he'll hold to some agreed upon
when he invaded Ukraine,
situation.
he violated their 2019 ceasefire. He also violated 2014 to 2015 Minsk agreements. He violated the Budapest memorandums from '94.
It doesn't matter. Who was involved in those agreements?
I mean, France and Germany were involved in most of them, and a few other countries. But yeah, and Ukraine, of course. But Russia never listens to any ceasefire at all. They usually just use it as a chance to rearm every time.
Who gives a fuck about a ceasefire? As far as I'm concerned, we can piece Ukraine up between the two of us. What does Russia want? Russia probably wants to be able to run a fucking pipeline into Central Europe. They probably also want access to the Black Sea.
Okay, well.
They probably want access to ports in the Black Sea. So we can give them some of that. We'd have to see what Russia wants to come to the table with. But as far as it seems, Putin's just in the long haul for it. I mean, it doesn't seem like he's really concerned about striking a peace agreement or like an allotment of Ukraine's territory between two countries. So it doesn't. I mean, I think that the Trump admin walked into something that they don't quite understand. Trump thought he would just be able to bully Putin and waltz in and come out on top, but Putin's
that
playing a
makes
different fucking
no
game.
sense
He's not
if you
worried about
understand anything about the situation. Saying that Trump tried bullying Putin, Trump has not tried bullying Putin at all. We gave Russia everything they wanted from the start. We bullied Ukraine. We did not bully Putin once.
Well, that's a way of bullying. It's a way of bullying to give Russia everything they want without even negotiating.
What
has Trump given Russia?
So he already justified the invasion. He said Russia should be able to keep all the land. He said that he blamed NATO for the Russian invasion. He said that Zelensky's a dictator. He's giving Russia every single form of appeasement
none of that's
that they
material.
want.
None of that's fucking material. He paid lip service.
He kept pausing aid to Ukraine. He paused intel from Ukraine for like a week, which allowed Russia to strike crucial infrastructure.
But because you can't negotiate with Putin, like I was saying previously.
So you have to take away intel from Ukraine. How does taking away intel from Ukraine help?
Just interrupt me. I'm gonna hang up.
Okay, crybaby.
What do you want to do? So look, as I said previously, yes, of course Trump can't pay lip service anything but lip service to Putin because Putin has ultimate leverage. Putin is willing to stage a long-term war. He doesn't have the domestic issues that the U.S. has. So the war in America is a lot more fucking unpopular, and we have a more dynamic political system. So it's not like Putin can really be usurped. It doesn't matter how people vote or what they have a fucking issue with. Because at the end of the day, people are obeying what he's saying. In the U.S., that's not the case. So we have different kinds of issues. Putin's willing to wage a long war. Trump wants to bring a fucking quick deal. Putin, of course, realizes this. He's going to fucking string him along. I mean, I'm not over here saying...
Yeah, I agree that Trump's getting played, yeah.
But, it's not... I mean, it was in a bad situation to begin with because the U.S.'s domestic issues regarding foreign wars. So it was already in a bad situation. I don't think it matters who would be president. Is Trump handling it better? Well, Trump's moving towards a deal, which we would like to have a deal. We would like to just settle this shit because of the domestic issues, no matter what it is.
Well, Trump, okay, so the reason it matters materially, you're bringing up democracy and voters, so this is why it matters to say, like, Zelensky's a dictator, for example. You said this is not material, but it is because Republicans, for example, just the Republican Party in America, they were like plus 10 in favorabilities for Zelensky. After that week where Trump intentionally character assassinated Zelensky and did the whole White House stunt and called him a dictator, it went from plus 10 for Republicans to negative 40, a 50-point swing in 1 week because what Trump says, his cult will follow.
Okay,
so if you're saying that domestic support for the war matters, if you're thinking that if you say domestic support in America for the war affects our policy towards Ukraine, then that 100% does connect materially.
You're strawmanning me. No. You're strawmanning me because you're talking about Democratic support in a different way than I spoke about it. I was just saying that closure to the firing of bullets and the war and an allotment of territory to different players in this game is due because of America's domestic issues. It isn't that I like respect democracies per se, or I'm like beholden to democracy.
What domestic issues are you talking about? Like, what do you mean by that?
The unfavorability. Well, no. The unfavoring by voters of foreign conflicts. So political parties in the U.S., especially because everything's so partisan, are able to position themselves and say things like, "We're anti-war, but we're pro-war. We're going to defend what's right." And people start talking about stupid fucking nonsense that has no fucking relevance in actual discussions of strategy because that's what they hear talked about. So I get a little bit off topic there, but I meant to say that you're strawmanning me because you're talking about democracy as if I'm devoted to it or I'm married to it or I'm committed to it. I'm not committed to democracy. So your arguments don't insult me. You can say Zelensky's a dictator. Well, dictator could be an ambiguous term. Let's see.
No, it
can't. Did Ukraine not suspend general elections?
Okay, I'm happy you're getting to one actual piece of like world information that's actually in the real world because you saying that alone shows that you do not understand this issue at all. I mean, yeah, they suspended elections according to their constitution and completely legally, with even the opposition party in Ukraine agreeing. Like their parliament votes on these things. And yeah, it was suspended legally because much of the country is occupied. So they cannot have elections.
I'm fine. Look, I'm fine with suspension. I get it.
He's not a dictator. A dictator would be like him saying he's going to maintain power.
Well,
it's not the parliament voting on
it. It's an ambiguous term.
It's not ambiguous. Dictator. Okay, so Trump refuses to call Putin a dictator. Trump will not call Putin a dictator, but he will call Zelensky one.
Yeah. And what? What do you plan to do with that information? Say I grant that.
Because if we like in all these countries when they have democracies, if you're going to character assassinate Ukraine and like Europe and America and all these different countries and you lessen support for Zelensky in Ukraine, then that means the people there will pressure their politicians to withdraw aid from Ukraine, therefore benefiting Russia.
So who's going to withdraw aid from Ukraine? I mean, do you think that we should just flow aid into Ukraine endlessly? Like, do you think that we should maybe attempt to broker a deal where we can give less money to Ukraine and get some kind of situation which we can play on in the future? Because now it doesn't seem like we're in a winning situation.
If you use actual information from the combat that we know about on the ground and also Russia's economy, we are saving Russia right now. Russia was on the brink of collapse essentially because of this war, but they had a big long play that Trump was going to win the election and Trump was going to help relieve
what the fuck
Russia from their issues.
What the fuck are you
Russia's
talking
economy
about?
has been crashing. You could look at Russia's economy, and you could see the collapse of their economy up until Trump took office, and you could see the revitalization. And like Trump right now is saying we have to end, or we have to lessen trade with the EU and Canada, and we have to
What do you
remove
mean the
sanctions on
collapse of their
Russia.
economy? Hold on. What the fuck are you talking about? The collapse of their economy?
Calm
What the fuck
down.
are you talking about? No,
Russia's
because you
been
don't know what you're talking about. So you talk about Russia's economy collapsing. Russia's economy can't really collapse, and that's why they have little domestic issues. It's because they have their own energy, they have their own food, so they can play the long game. They don't have an affluent population. They don't have a large service economy that depends on imports and so favorable reputation internationally as a good guy, so to say. Russia, I don't know what you're talking about. The collapse of the Russian economy. There were financial sanctions placed on Russia, sure, but Russia has situated itself in BRICS as to where they don't rely on the value of the U.S. dollar or their ability to use the U.S. dollar. So what do you mean? You're saying
Their
that
economy is
Russia
insanely bad.
has cars
They
only
had
because
massive
Trump played it.
inflation. If you think American inflation was
And
bad, their inflation was even worse. But the war effort in Ukraine was a huge failure for Putin. They were not able to make nearly the inroads they expected. And I mean, right now
inflation is a measure of what? Inflation is a measure in general
their
of
currency
the increase
became extremely
of the price of goods.
devalued, and they had to print money
Okay.
to make
What
their economy
asset?
not fully collapse. You tell me what
They
assets. I'm
had
not going to go through every single point with you. The point
yes,
is that
of course.
Russia's really
Oh my
struggling, and
God.
Trump is
Oh my
saving
God.
them. Trump is saving Russia right
Of
now,
course.
and Ukraine has been very strong.
Listen, dude.
I
Shut
would
the
say for
fuck up, you
Ukraine,
fucking
giving
nerd.
very calm
I'm about to
down,
hang
giving
up on your
very
ass.
basic. I don't care. You're an incel asshole idiot. Like I don't. Okay, goodbye. I let him ramble on about things that he's like very very wrong about for too long. I'm gonna hang up on you. Like Russia just like they don't need the economy because like. I don't know what to say to him if he has, you know. Who's this guy that's calling? I'm gonna hang up, bro. Yeah, bro, when Russia signs all the oil deals and stuff, they just don't need it. Hey, what's up?
Yo, it must be hard to be a Democrat right now.
It is hard to be a Democrat right now.
How do you feel though about Biden getting a security clearance taken, Hillary getting her security clearance taken, Kamala? Those are all your people, bro. What's
For
going
anyone to
on?
care about that, you have to be a really pathetic person, probably. Because I really don't care. You care because you like politics in terms of sports teams, but I look at politics in terms of how it affects people, so I really don't care about security clearances or whatever.
They're about to get indicted.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, you don't think so?
Yeah, buddy, they're gonna get indicted, yeah.
Well, I mean, did you watch the recent with the cabinet, how they're getting ready to start doing criminal investigations and all the fraud that dude is found?
Yeah, that's why they're hiding the
yet?
Epstein files too. They're hiding the Epstein files because Trump is on there with little kids. It's crazy, crazy shit.
They're gonna release it. You didn't hear about it getting blocked in New York?
They did release the Epstein files, but they're hiding it on purpose because Trump is
No,
is
they
in
didn't
there.
release all of it. That was the thing is. The
Yeah, I know
AG
they're
got
hiding
hurt.
it. That's what I'm saying. They're hiding it. They're hiding it. Yeah.
No, but
hiding
they're
it 'cause
gonna
of
release
Trump.
more of it because it's not just.
Oh yeah, sure they are. Yeah, sure. Just like the first ones, right? And the JFK files that were already released. They're gonna definitely, they're releasing the Epstein files, bro. Dude, yeah, buddy. I'm gonna make sure. You might be like near the end of your life.
How much did
Like,
Biden release?
you might be here on Make-A-Wish budgets, but like, I'll just say for your happiness, yes, Biden's getting indicted. Kamala's getting indicted. Yeah, good job, buddy.
What do you mean by that? Make a wish, man.
Make a wish, like your birthday. It's your birthday, right?
Oh, okay.
You
I
blow out
thought
the
you meant the
candles.
other way around, then. That's kind of a low blow. You don't think so?
What do you mean?
Never mind. But I mean, you don't think the Democratic Party right now is just in straight chaos?
No, they're in gay chaos.
Those,
they're in gay chaos, actually.
But I mean, even the TikTok influencers are getting exposed.
Wow,
like,
you got your
heard
politics
the
from
Sisson guy, or... Well, I'm just saying though.
Bro,
overall,
you hear about the politics, bro? You hear the TikTok guys? You hear the TikTok guys are getting
of the
exposed?
Democrats?
Even the you hear the Harry Sisson case, bro? Even the TikTokers
You're
are
one
getting
of them,
exposed,
though.
bro. Even the TikTok are getting exposed,
Bro, but what
Bro,
would you
even
rate
the
the Democrats'
TikToks
performance?
are
That's
getting.
a normal
Dude, the
question.
Democrats are in trouble, bro. The TikTok guys are getting
Look, you're
exposed right now.
emotional right now.
You're Harry
You're
Sisson.
pissed, bro. I
You're
can
so emotional
tell.
right now. You are pissed because you
Come
brought
on,
up
man.
Harry
What do you
Sisson and
think the
TikTok.
Democrats' performance is?
TikTok gets me angry. TikTok.
Dude, I mean, you
TikTok.
can't even
Beep,
look, bro. You can't even answer a question,
Grabbing the
bro. You're
coupe
just
and a lot.
embarrassing
Telling
yourself.
fuck,
Like,
tell fuck, swat.
what would you
Sorry,
rate
that's a
the
rap song.
Democrats' performance right now?
Let's see. 2 out of 10.
Why 2 out of 10?
Because the leaders of the party message terribly.
Well, who
And they're
do
old.
you want as the leader of the Democrats?
Chris Murphy in the Senate.
And who else? You
I
don't like
know.
AOC and Bernie?
Well, the issue with politics is that, like, because of Donald Trump and you fanboys, you need to
What
find
does
someone that
Trump
makes
have
you
to do with
attracted
it?
to
I'm
them.
asking about the Democrats. I
No,
still
no,
wanna
I'm
know your
saying that, like, the
position.
current, like, political system, you think there needs to be I mean, we need a leader because of Trump, but, like, before Trump and
Mhm.
whatever, there did not need to be like, okay, this is our LeBron James or this is our Kobe Bryant of our organization. It was just like a political parties. Then you pick a president every now and then. But like the idea that we need that one clear leader and like a daddy to say like I'll follow whatever you say, that's only like a Republican thing. It's pretty new.
I mean, it's not good to have someone who's like a good leader for your group and gonna
Well, Trump's not a
represent you
good
guys well.
leader. Like you
I'm not
can have a
talking
good
about
you can
Trump.
have good
I'm talking about in
leaders.
general. You don't want someone who's going to represent your party.
Yeah, but you
like,
don't need
good.
one
You know what I'm
leader.
saying?
You don't need one
Like
leader.
if you guys had a good person in charge, you can make other people agree with your like I don't know
I agree.
ideology and flip to your party. You know, like what Trump did. So I mean,
No, I'm just
why
saying what
wouldn't the
politics should
Democrats
be.
wanna do
No,
that?
I know. I think
Or
Democrats
do
do need that. Democrats do need that. I'm just saying that that's not what politics is supposed to be. But in this current age,
Well,
that's why I
why
don't like
not?
the
Isn't
Democrats
that what
now.
it's really about? You get
That's
behind
why
someone who like
it's
everyone
not about
agrees with?
cult worship. It's not about cult worship
That's
or
not
about
cult
having just an
worship.
influential leader. It should be about people understanding policies and voting for politicians who can do good for their, good policies. But now they can elect like Trump, who had no healthcare plan even. So Americans don't even care about healthcare anymore. Or a lot of Americans don't. So I mean, bringing it
Well, I
back to those
mean,
issues would be very
what
helpful.
if you had a good leader who had a good healthcare policy? You think that's bad? Because I mean, are you that like
Yeah, that'd be a really
feminine?
good
You don't
thing.
like a good leader?
It'd be good to have more good leaders for sure. That's why I don't like Chuck Schumer's and Hakeem Jeffries, because they are not good leaders.
So you said it was someone from the Senate and who else? For the
I don't know.
Democrat Party.
I have
You
no
don't-
idea.
You don't even know who else would be like the two candidates for your party, and you're over here debating people.
A lot of governors.
You can't even name two people.
No, I can't name any actually. I only know policies and information about the world. Sorry, I don't
I
play
mean,
your
bro,
like,
it
little
shows
celebrity
you're kind
fanboy
of
games.
exposing yourself as someone who doesn't really know what's
Yeah,
going
bro.
on in the world.
Ask me again
You're
about
just
Harry
kind of, like,
Sisson and
tribal
TikTok.
at this point.
Ask me again about Harry Sisson and TikTok, brother.
Yeah, I just thought that was funny. I thought you'd know since you're like in the same lane as him.
Yeah.
But I mean, seriously, you can't even name a second person you'd want to rep.
No,
the
I know
Democrat
zero
Party.
people. I know zero people in America in general. I don't know anything.
Damn, you're salty, bro. You're actually salty. That's crazy.
Yeah, I'm very angry.
Yeah, like you can't even answer. I'm not even trying to be like confrontational. I was actually genuinely curious.
I genuinely do not know any person in America.
So you don't know anyone in your party that's kind of sad, bro. Looks like you got to come over here on the real side.
What, the gay side where you worship one guy? That's kind of gay, bro.
I don't,
What the
bro. You
hell?
guys had trannies in office when Biden was in.
It's kind of gay, bro. I love trans people. I'm sorry that you have to like. You're very insecure about your life, so you need to punch down on trans people. But trans people are pretty cool, and gay
Wait,
people,
what?
and like all people are pretty cool.
Oh, I was just kind of confused. You're kind of using gay as a derogatory comment, as a put down.
Oh no, only for you. I love gay
Only
people.
for me. You don't think that's
Yeah.
kind of bad against your own party?
Oh, it's terrible. It's terrible, bro. I'm actually
That's
canceled.
kind of homophobic.
I'm
don't you
canceling
think?
myself. I am the most homophobic person you'll ever meet,
I
brother.
think you're embarrassing yourself right now.
Yeah.
You can't even really answer any questions.
I don't know any questions or answers, so that makes sense. I am
I mean,
embarrassed.
bro, it's kind of like you're over here debating people like you know everything, and then someone just asks you
I
a
know
question like,
nothing.
Yo,
That's
who are
true.
the two people you support and like to see go up against the next? You know what I mean? Like, who would be your people and you don't even know?
All right, tell me who was on Epstein's flight logs 7 times.
Bro, Bill Clinton was on there. Like, every
Who else?
politician
Was
on
Donald Trump
Epstein's
on there?
flight
Was
log.
Donald Trump on there?
No, he wasn't on his flight log. And I think Bill Gates was. Yeah, look it up, bro.
Do you know that Trump and Epstein were best
Pull
friends?
it up.
You know that they
Can
were
you
best
show me
friends.
it? Show me
You
the
know
flight
Trump and
log.
Epstein were best friends.
No, they weren't. Do you know what happened with them? Bro, if you're really like smart,
So yeah,
you know that
Epstein
like
and Trump.
Epstein was
Yeah,
hanging
okay.
out with
You know, Trump
every
banned
high-level
Epstein from
person.
Mar-a-Lago because Epstein finally went after one of Trump's guests. But if Epstein never did that, Trump would have kept him around because Trump was a fan, like Kendrick Lamar
Hey,
says.
well, bro, like, you know, there's sneaky people out there who like trick people, right? There's like people who
You know
are like
what?
really smart and manipulative.
If Donald Trump parties with Jeffrey Epstein and Jeffrey Epstein is running international sex trafficking
Bro,
organization that's
so did
that
Bill
big, Trump would
Clinton.
probably know about it. I'm
Like,
just saying.
bro, no, do you know? You don't even really know the whole thing about Epstein. Like the whole thing is.
I know
that
you're
he
an
gets
expert.
buddy-buddy,
I
then
know
he
you're an
compromises.
expert. I know you're an expert. I
Bro,
know
you're
you're
not
obsessed
an
with him.
expert. You can't even name
I
two
know,
people
I'm
from
not an
Democratic
expert on
Party who
Epstein.
like
I
to
know you
represent
are.
them.
I know you. It takes one to know one, so I know you'd be very familiar with the activities that you see on display.
Bro,
So
you don't
I hope
even,
you're not like,
bro. You
especially
literally
because
can't
he's best
even
friends with Trump.
name.
You wish you were him, bro. You wish you were him. You could be around Trump all
Bro,
day. You could be an asshole. You could do all that stuff, bro. You gotta
look, bro, you
find a
can't even.
way.
But
You
like
gotta find a
seriously,
way. I hope you
who
find
would
a
you even
way.
vote for on your party side?
I vote for Scrooge. What's his name again? There's this
Bro,
really good guy.
bro, you're over here like
I'm voting for him for
debating
president.
people like you know a
No,
bunch
no,
of
no.
stuff.
I'm sorry. No. Okay, I'm gonna vote for
Bro, you don't know anything though. You're not smart.
Listen, no,
You're literally not
I'm going to
smart.
the center. I'll vote for Scrooge McDuck. Okay,
Like,
do you
bro,
know him?
you're a feminine like
Do you know
little
Scrooge?
boy.
Do you know Scrooge McDuck by chance? You
No,
know
I
Scrooge
don't.
McDuck. Do you know what party he's in?
Bro, look, you can't even talk about real world stuff. You got to talk about that because you got nothing,
Talk
bro.
about what?
You're literally getting murked
Who is
right
Scrooge
now.
McDuck?
Bro, your chat's probably agreeing with me right now, bro.
Who
You're
is Scrooge
literally getting
McDuck?
murked right now.
Yeah, the YouTube
Bro,
shorts will agree
who
with
is
you,
he
to
then?
be honest.
Who is he?
Who is Scrooge McDuck? Tell me. I'm voting for him, so you better tell me so I know.
Bro, look, you deep down, we both know you have no idea what you're talking about right now.
You don't know who Scrooge McDuck is?
Bro, I don't worry about that stuff. I actually worry about what's really going on in the world. You're just over here talking about Scrooge McDuck because you have nothing to go off of.
Who is
Because you're
Scrooge
salty
McDuck?
that you can't even name two people.
I
represent
can't
the
name. I
Democratic
don't know
Party well.
anyone in the Democratic Party. You're right. I don't know anyone. I'm who? Okay, name two Republicans other than Elon Musk, JD Vance, or Trump.
Bro, you got Mike Johnson, Ron DeSantis.
Name
Macy
two Republican
Love,
congressmen.
recipe
Two
for
Republican
her.
congressmen.
Bro, yeah, I can name them, bro. Like,
Okay, name
you
two
can't even
Republican
name
congressmen.
two people to represent your party in the next election. You're not a real Democrat, bro. You're a grifter.
You're right. I'm not a real
You're a
Democrat. That is
drifter,
true.
whatever
I
the
am not a
fuck
real
the word,
Democrat.
yeah.
That is true. That is true. I'm not a real Democrat.
Bro, you're really
I'm
not.
a Democrat by it's necessary because they're one of the two
No,
major
bro,
parties.
you really
but,
should
yeah.
just end your life because you don't know anything
You're
you're talking
right.
about.
Yeah, I should. You're
Bro,
right.
come on, bro. Let's have a real political like talk.
Oh yeah.
Bro, like
Yes.
what, you know what I'm saying? Like, what are your thoughts on the flights? You know, since I gotta like carry this conversation. Like, you think those judges are justified or what?
Yeah, the Constitution, pretty tricky.
I mean, are you like a robot or something? Like, come on, bro, have some substance to you. Like,
The Constitution's pretty tricky.
Like, deep when you talk, like,
The Constitution
you sound
pretty
like
tricky.
a little robot, bro.
The Constitution
You
pretty
just drink
tricky.
the same propaganda Kool-Aid.
The Constitution is a propaganda Kool-Aid.
I'm just talking about you. You
The
can't even go
Constitution
that
is
deep.
propaganda. The Constitution is propaganda. Do you know what the Fifth Amendment is?
What is the Fifth Amendment? No, I don't know off the top of my
You
head.
gotta know. You gotta know.
What is it? I'm not gonna.
You can't. You cannot have an opinion. You got to do your own research, brother. What is the Fifth Amendment? What does that say?
You tell me.
No, I'm not telling you. I'm not gonna help you out. You pathetic little piece of garbage. What is it?
Do you really think illegal immigrants deserve due process, especially ones that are
according to the
gay?
Constitution, yes.
So so you think people who came here illegally and actually raped and killed people should have due process?
So how do you know you're getting the right people?
Bro, you don't think they're actually? Oh my.
Okay, if there's no due process, you can take anyone.
Wait,
hey, have an adult conversation. I'll be real for a second if you want, but have a real conversation for 1 second in your life. Okay, so how can they get the right people if there's no due process?
So you're really gonna undermine like the FBI, ICE, Homeland Security, and all those government agencies, and you're not gonna Because
regardless, there should be due process. There should be due process.
Was
Everyone
there
should
due
have due
process for
process
the-
because
Was there due process for the like the Taliban and stuff like that?
were they in America? Was it during
You know
war?
what I'm
Do
saying?
you mean
Like,
Taliban and like?
You're
Do you mean
literally sitting
Guantanamo
here
Bay?
defending rapists
Do you
and
mean
murderers,
Guantanamo
bro.
Bay?
Like,
Oh no,
bro,
no, I'm
those
defending
Venezuelan
innocent
gangs
people.
should all be shot
No,
in the
actually,
head,
it's
bro.
pretty
You're
it's
a
pretty
pussy.
disgusting. You're in favor of letting children get hurt because you don't want to focus our resources in the right direction. I want to focus our resources
Yeah, bro.
on the dangerous
The
criminals.
illegal immigrants
You
were
want to
attacking
focus our
children,
resources on
dum-dum.
taking innocent
Live in the
people
real
and
world.
putting them in slavery. Don't say real world when you can avoid all
Put them
real
in
facts.
slavery, bro.
You
You
can
don't even know what
only
you're talking about.
yes, the forced labor prison camps. Yes, forced
Bro, you
labor
probably have, like, a
prison.
body
Yeah,
count
in
of
El
2. Like, come
Salvador.
on, bro.
So let's talk about the amendments. Okay, so when we
Yeah,
talk
bro,
about due
put 'em in El
process, why does it
Salvador.
matter? Why do you
Bro,
think the due process
The
is
majority
important?
of Americans support that. You know that, right? You're the small
I
minority.
support, everyone supports deporting violent criminals, but I want to make sure we have due process so we don't send innocent people there, right?
So innocent people. So you think they did this whole entire process, and Joe Schmo, who works at your local taco stand, is going to El Salvador? That's what I mean. Do you
Objectively,
really,
yes,
like,
there is 100% proof
but do
already.
you
There's
really,
proof already that did send innocent people there that came in here legally. Yeah, legal, like, yeah.
who says they're innocent though? Who's claiming that they're innocent?
Well, there's no due process, but from what we know, they have not committed any crimes and they're not gang affiliated, which is the claim. The claim is that they're in gangs and therefore we could ship them to El Salvador, but there's zero evidence of that for many of them, for most of them.
So what I'm trying to get at though is who's making these claims? Is it the people that are locked up right now? Are they the ones making the claims to their family?
So like for example, there's people that came in legally. They were going to their normally scheduled meetings with Homeland Security, and they just were taken to be shipped to El Salvador. And those persons were following every legal guidance. They were following. They came in through a legal port of entry. They were seeking legal asylum, and they were accused of being gang members because of like a tattoo or because they had the wrong skin tone. And now they're in a forced labor camp in El Salvador when they're not even gang members, and we have their documentation. So that's really bad. And like when you don't have due process, you could just accuse an American citizen of being a gang member and ship them to El Salvador. If there's no due process, how can we even prove how can we prove they're gang members or not gang members? This is really dangerous. This is why our country is founded on due process. The entire Constitution does not matter if there's no due process because there are no rights if there's no due process.
Okay, this is the crazy part. So you're saying that these people they do their check-ins with Homeland Security and say, "Hey, Bob, I'm here to check in. I'm an illegal immigrant." And that's what I mean. Are you really undermining Homeland Security and saying they can't figure out who's a gang member and who's not?
If there's no due process, yes, we know objectively Homeland Security is sending people to El Salvador who came legally.
So
They're not illegal. They came legally. They came through legal
anything?
ports of entry. They came from legal ports of entry into America,
you know
legal
that
ports of
those
entry.
people in El
So if they came
Salvador,
through
right,
legal,
they get access to lawyers and
legal,
stuff
if they
like
came
that.
through legal ports of entry in America, and you're doing everything right, and because of a tattoo, one person had a Real Madrid tattoo, a soccer tattoo,
But they're
a
not
soccer
legal,
coach,
bro.
professional
The thing
soccer
is, they're all
player.
legal.
They came in
They're
through a
all
legal port of
illegal.
entry for asylum seeking. They're not
Bro,
all
but,
illegal. That's not
like,
how that works.
I don't-
Because you don't know big boy facts does
Well,
not
you're
matter
literally
in this
saying
case.
defending rapists,
So the
bro.
actual
Not
facts of this.
surprised.
No. Okay. So they came through a legal ports of
literally
entry to
not
get into the
surprised right
U.S.
now,
for
bro.
following asylum law. And if you want to have adult conversations, we can. But if you don't care about the facts, just say that. If you want to say we could just do whatever we want,
Bro,
because
you
they're
don't
not-
care about the facts. What?
You don't care about anything to do with this case at all, or any people in general. You're just probably I don't even know what kind of person you'd watch on the internet. But you
Let me
probably
ask you
just
something.
you
Have
just
ever
get
been to Latin America? Have you ever been to Mexico, El Salvador, anywhere in Latin America?
So yeah, in those countries they don't have due process, and innocent people
Well,
get put in jail all the time. So in America, we have due process. We're not a third
So
world
why does
country.
wait?
We
Why
are a
does
first
the El
world country with a
Salvadorian president
constitution.
have, like, the
We
highest
are a first world
presidential
country. We are a first world country in America, and we have due process, and that's the basis of our country. And you would disagree with all of our founding fathers. You're being directly anti-constitution right
Bro,
now,
but
and
you're
you probably
just-
don't
you're
care.
just undermining. You're undermining the
So
whole
when we
entire,
talk
like,
about due process,
Department of
right now
Justice.
under
This
their
is kinda
current
crazy.
standard, they can pick up an American citizen. Yeah, there should be due process, even if Biden's in office, or Obama, or Trump, or Bush, or whoever, or Reagan. There should be due
since
process.
they're legal, they
We do
should
not
wait in
want
El
federal
Salvador for
agents.
their
We
due
do not
process.
want federal agents to go and pick up random people off the streets saying this person looks like a gang member and shipping them to a foreign prison. That's not a good thing. Then they could come after American citizens under that same premise.
me ask
That's
you
not a talking
something.
point. That's
How
the law.
come-
That's the legal law. I know talking points
How
sound.
come
I know
nobody
the
was
law
upset
sounds like
when
talking points to
Biden
you
was-
because you're against the
was
law.
planing in
But you're
all
against
those
the law.
illegal immigrants?
No, we should stay on this one topic of due process, because due process, without due process, again, we don't have freedom. We don't have a country anymore without due process. So we
This
need
is
due
crazy, though.
process
You're
even for people you
defending
don't
these
like.
people, bro, and your whole talking point is, because people are saying that they're actually innocent. This
No,
and
I'm
that. It's like,
defending
bro,
due
it's
process. I'm defending
it's
due
only
process,
200
not the
it's only
people.
about
I'm
200
defending due
people. You don't
process.
think
Even freedom
you
of
don't think
speech. You might
Homeland
not like
Security
people,
is
but you
able
should
to
defend people's
determine
freedom of speech and
who's
due
a gang
process.
member
Due
or not?
process protects you. Due process protects each and every one of us. I'm defending my own rights by defending their rights to due process. Because if someone picks you up in a van, but you're probably white, so you're probably not going to have that experience. But if they
Like
pick you
how
up
they
in a
do in
van,
Ukraine, dude. Like how
if
they
they
literally
pick you,
pick up and kidnap people in
stop
Ukraine
repeating your
to
talking
join
points.
their
Talk
war.
about America. Talk about America. You live in America.
No,
We have
I'm just
American
saying,
laws. We
you
have
went
American
sitting here talking
Constitution.
about picking up
Hey, wait,
people in a
wait. You
van.
live in America, right? We're talking about America and American laws. Don't
Bro,
run
we're
from the.
both
Don't
not
run
gonna
from it. Hey,
agree on
don't
this.
run. Don't run away from the topic
not
because you
running,
can't deal
bro.
with it. Stop. Okay, then stop crying. Stop running away. Let's focus on this
Bro,
one
I'm
topic.
not. Just like
You
how
want to
you
make
can't
sure the
name two
federal
people for
government.
the
Hey, whoa,
Democratic
whoa, whoa,
Party.
hey, buddy. I want to have an adult conversation
Bro,
with you.
I'm not
I
your
think
buddy.
that you're smarter. I think you're okay. Don't be all sassy with me. You sound a little gay right now. Just to say, I mean,
Damn, bro,
I
you're
mean,
using that as a
that's a
derogatory
positive
term.
thing.
You're probably hurting
Okay.
your base
Stop
right now.
crying. I really, and by the way, all the gays in my chat know that I support trans people and gay people, so they love it when I call you gay because you are
Damn,
gay.
bro, you
You're
gotta
gay
fix
as
a little
shit.
bit.
Okay, so now let's move forward on with the conversation, gay ass. Okay, so when we talk about due process in America, it matters because that's the entire foundation of our country. Even our political enemies, we need to support the rights for them as well. Freedom of speech should be afforded to KKK members. It should be afforded to neo-Nazis. It
Bro,
should be
gang
afforded to
members don't get
pro-Palestine
due
protesters.
process. They're not
Yeah, they do get due
citizens,
process
dude.
because if you don't
They're
have due process,
terrorists,
then you take
dumb.
innocent
They're
people.
literally
You can take
declared
innocent
terrorists.
people and claim they're gang members and send innocent people to prison.
They're
That's why we
not.
want to make
That's
sure
the
there's due
thing, bro.
process, so we don't send
You're
innocent
so
people to
brainwashed.
prison.
You think they're innocent
It's
people.
not brainwashed.
And
We
that's
actually have
kinda
many
sad.
cases of this. I can
Because,
find the
bro,
actual
when
cases on the
someone
screen. I'll show it to the
rapes
stream.
someone in your
Okay,
family
look at
they're
these.
illegal,
Look at this.
you're
Okay,
literally
so
gonna
let's see.
change your mind about it. Because this happens to real people. I know you want to sit here and be like, oh, they're innocent, bro. But if something happens to your family by an illegal immigrant, you'll literally change your tone 100%.
Actually, no. One illegal immigrant committing a crime, and by the way, I'm talking about legal people that came in legally. But one
No,
illegal
I'm
immigrant
talking
committing a
about
crime is
illegal.
not
I'm
a
not
reason.
talking about legal. So
Believe
you're
it or not,
changing it
but
to
one
legal. We're
crime,
talking about illegal gang
one
members,
crime is
bud.
not a reason. One crime is not a reason for removing due process from every American. I strongly
you're
stand against that
illegal, bro,
idea.
you're
Illegal
changing it
immigrants
to
are still
Are we
for
not
due
talking
process.
about illegal
Okay.
immigrants right now?
Do you understand why I say that? Do you understand why I say due process matters for me, even if it's an illegal immigrant?
Dude, you're a citizen who was
Do you
born
understand
here.
why?
We're talking
No.
about
Okay, so that
illegal
applies for
criminals,
all
dude, who
people.
were
Okay,
proven
so
to
when it
be
comes
gang
to the
members and
Constitution,
terrorists.
not proven to be, not proven. It's not proven because there's no due
Yes,
process.
they
But
are,
the
bro.
point
They're
is,
literally
okay,
terrorists.
I need you to
Bro,
stop
they're
being
not
emotional for
terrorists.
1 second. Calm down for 1 second. Calm down for
No,
one
bro,
second.
like,
If there's no, hey,
hey,
calm
look, at
down.
least
Hey,
I
hey,
finally got you talking,
baby
bro.
girl,
We were
chill,
talking
chill.
about Donald Duck
Sissy, you're
earlier,
such
so
a
at least I
sissy.
got you
Shut
going.
up. You're
Hey,
such a
let's
sissy.
let's
Calm
be
down.
honest,
Let's
you're
talk
not
about
talking
law.
about
Let's
Donald
talk about
Duck
facts. Let's talk
anymore.
about
I kicked
American
something
freedom.
in
Let's talk
here.
about American freedom, baby girl. Let's talk about American
Dude.
freedom. So with due
Hey, if
process,
you're
I do
illegal
not
and
want
you're a
I do
gang
not want
member,
the
you don't
federal
get freedom
government.
here, dude.
You do get freedom of due process because you should be able to see if someone's actually a gang member and actually commit the crime. So if if ICE, for example, picks up a random person off the sidewalk and says this person's a terrorist, we don't need to do due process. We can ship them off to El Salvador. They can do that with literally anyone, citizen or not. Due process matters because it affects every single person in America. The Constitution says every person in America should be considered or should have due process for that reason.
But this is a difference, though. So you're saying that Homeland Security, FBI, ICE, when they investigate these people, they're not investigating them. They're just picking any random person.
They sent
This is
women
the
there by
difference, though.
accident. They sent women there by accident. They're not vetting them. They sent legal
Oh, no,
asylum
they
seekers
didn't.
to El Salvador
No,
prison.
they
Yeah, I
didn't,
have the
bro.
records right
This is
here.
what I mean,
The
dude.
records are
This
on
is
the
all-
screen. Yeah, this
So
is
you're
what I
saying
mean. This is what I mean. You're gonna
you're
say
saying
as
out
I
of the
have the
200
literal
people,
information
female
on the
went there.
screen. I have the literal
So you're
information
saying
on the
females
screen.
went there.
Yes, they accidentally sent women to these prisons. Because they
No,
are
they
not
didn't.
vetting them properly. They are not vetting them.
No, they
Tom
literally
Homan bragged. Tom Homan bragged about not
Let's see the
following due
proof then,
process.
bro.
Tom Homan bragged about not doing due process at all.
Bro, they don't.
Okay,
if
so
you're
here's
illegal,
the
you don't
proof.
deserve
Okay,
due process.
here's on the screen. Venezuelans deported last week included 8 women who were returned to the U.S. because El Salvador refused them because they were women. Okay, so this
but
was
you don't
if
think
they're
that
going to send
women could
8
be in
women.
terrorist organizations? You
If
don't
they're
think
going to send
women
8
could be in
women,
terrorist
if they're going to send 8 women,
Was
okay, so
Max
due
Paul
process.
not- was
This is
John
not the same
Maxwell not
conversation at
part
all.
of the pedophile ring?
You don't care about our
You can't be
Constitution.
sexist like
Okay,
that.
just say
Women
you're
are
just
criminals.
say you're anti-America. You're anti-Constitution. Just say it.
Bro, you don't even know what you're talking about.
You're
It's not as if
anti-Constitution. Okay, you don't know what you're talking about. It's not an argument. You should express
don't
how
know
you
what
know
you're
what you're
talking
talking about.
about.
Yeah, I do. I'm
You
actually
don't
talking
even
about the
know two people
Constitution. I'm
from the
talking about
Democrat Party
the
to represent
yeah.
your
You
people.
sound like a genius right now.
You stand
So
on no
please,
thing, bro.
please talk about America. Just say you disagree with the Constitution. We can move on.
Bro,
You don't like the
just say you're a
Constitution.
communist.
Oh, just say you're a communist.
you're a
Dude.
socialist, bro.
You're gay. You're gay, bro. Okay, so
Bro,
The Constitution. Do you not care about the Constitution? Just say you don't care about it.
Say you don't care about it. You literally don't care.
Ooh, okay. Say you don't care about the Constitution. You don't care about the Fifth Amendment being applied to all people.
Bro, I don't want illegal immigrants here committing crimes. I don't care about their due process. They don't deserve a due
No one
process.
disagrees
They're
with that, but the
illegal.
thing is, if you want to accuse
Bro,
someone
the
of a
majority of
crime, you
people
should have
agree
due
with me,
process to
not
make sure
you.
they're
That's the crazy
actually.
part.
That's also
Bro,
not an argument.
you're-
That's also okay. A majority of people can be wrong in
Bro,
this
you're
case.
like
There
the
should be due
crazy
process
liberal
for
that, like,
everyone.
is the minority
Oh,
here.
you're like a crazy liberal. This is what you do. You
You are,
attack the
bro.
person instead of the idea because
Bro,
you
you
have weak
literally,
ideas.
like,
You have weak ideas. You have no principles. You have to attack the person because you have nothing to stand on.
you've been
And that's how all of
resorting
you
to
people
calling me
are. That's
gay
how
and
all
stuff
of you
like
people
that,
are.
bro.
That's how all of you weak
Yeah,
people
bro,
are.
the
You're
whole
weak.
time you've
You
just
have
been
nothing.
name-calling,
You have nothing
and
at
you
all.
talked
And you're
about
crying now
Donald
about
Trump.
name calling. You're crying now. Now you're whining. You lie, you
Bro, I don't
accuse, and
care.
you whine. You show no experience. You show no understanding of
All right, bro,
anything.
what do you think
And
about
you're
the
really
Elon
upset
Musk
right now.
fire, the
You
Elon
are
Musk
really
protest?
upset
Do you
right now
support
because
that?
you know that you're intellectually outpaced in this in this
No, I'm
conversation.
not. You talked
Not even
about Donald
intellectually,
Trump, like,
because I'm not. I'm a dumb person.
You're
I just
not
care about
smart,
America.
though.
I care about
Like,
the
did you go to
Constitution.
college?
So
Did
when
you
we
go to
talk about
college?
this stuff, no, I don't care about college. I just know more than you. I understand
that's
the
where you
American
got
values. I can
brainwashed at.
read our founding fathers' words. Oh, what if I didn't go to college? I actually read the
Bro.
Constitution. Our founding fathers agreed with due process. You know what Thomas Franklin said?
Bro,
Listen.
for citizen dum-dum,
No. It says persons.
Citizen.
It's all people. Because
citizen,
okay, everyone in chat too. Everyone in chat will see
non-illegal
my.
terrorist.
This is very okay. So this is the thing about all of this. Okay, now you got to be quiet for 1 second. Okay, you can show that you have some control, like an ADHD-ridden 8-year-old. Okay, so due process for everyone matters because all they need to do, okay, is accuse you of being an illegal immigrant terrorist, and they can now kick you out of the country with no due process. They can accuse anyone of this. And my big thing is all of our resources should be devoted towards going after dangerous people. Therefore, we should have due process to find out if they're actually the people we're going after, because we don't want to raise. Why are we wasting resources? Why are we using our taxpayer dollars to send innocent people to El Salvador? Hey, you not letting me finish the point is showing your insecurity and showing how fucking stupid you are. Listen for a second.
How come they haven't been doing that since the beginning, just sending people to El Salvador? It's only one select group that they sent to El Salvador. This is where you're
they do
mixing it up,
test runs. You're talking like it doesn't. Okay, they do test runs to see what they
doing it.
They do test runs to see if they can get away with it. If you don't stop interrupting, I could just tell that you're really scared to answer this question. You're really scared to go down this road. You're really scared of it.
No,
so the reason they don't do it all right away is because they need idiots like you to say it's okay because they're Venezuelans, they're obvious gang members, they're obviously terrorists. It's okay if we violate due process. Okay, again, just saying you don't know what you're talking about. You're like proving you don't know what you're talking about. You are proving you don't know anything. You're proving you don't know anything you're talking about. You're proving it. You're proving it. No, you don't. You're proving it. So when it comes to the Constitution, the Fifth Amendment says all persons. And again, you appeal to the majority. You appeal to the crowd because you know you're wrong. If you are right about this, the core principles of America are advocating for people that you may disagree with. And Tren de Aragua, so we would say, or Tren de Agua, whatever the phrasing is. So what you would say essentially is that you agree this group's bad.
Yes or no?
You agree this group is bad. Okay, so we need to actually verify who is a member of this group. We should not just send whoever is. We need to just not send who is accused of being a member of this group. We need to make sure we have due process to make sure we cannot just say Americans are in terrorist groups.
I mean, bro, there's really no point in just keep going on and on. I think we both.
Yeah, because you don't care about the Constitution or care about any of the rights that are afforded to people in this country at all. You don't care about our founding fathers. You don't care about our founding fathers at all. You're wrong. No, even if 99% of America agreed with you, you'd still be wrong about this, and our founding fathers would hate you.
Bro, the founding fathers literally supported slavery. Like, quit acting like they're like so miracle, like good people, bro. Like.
Why do you sound like a communist right now? Why do you sound like a dumbass communist going against American values, saying like, "Oh, they all slaves"? Yeah, of course, it was 1776 or whatever. I understand that. I agree. But why do you sound like a communist? Why do you sound like a communist college student? I'm making constitutional arguments, and you're devoting to this emotional bullshit. Like, what are you? What are you? This is what you incels do when you run out of points. Yeah, because you're talking about they own slaves, so they can't have any good points. No, it's founded on due process. It's all that matters. And of course, we could go back to black people being accused of crimes. Emmett Till, for example, having no due process, no real due process, getting lynched, and that's also a form of lynching if you're just going to kill people with no due process. We should not have no due process. Due process is a great thing to make sure Americans can maintain their freedoms.
You shouldn't.
How do you know if someone's illegal and a criminal without due process?
They've already done it, bro. FBI or ICE, Homeland Security, bro. It's just on and on.
Yeah, when they sent these women there accidentally, yeah.
Bro, bro, but do you think the Tesla protesters are terrorists?
Oh, you have to switch points again because you know you're wrong. That's beautiful.
Bro, because what's the point of us just talking about the same thing when I'm not going to change
Because
my
it's a
stand, you're
big
not gonna
deal.
change
I know
your
you're not
stand?
going to change your mind. No, but I'm following the Constitution. I just want you to say you don't care about the Fifth Amendment.
No, bro. I just want you to say you don't care about America. And
You don't care about the
people
Constitution. You
getting
don't care
raped
about the
and murdered.
Constitution. I
Say
do care
that.
about
If you
America. I
say
want to
that,
get. Oh
I'll
no,
say
actually,
that.
actually,
Just say,
see,
I don't care about
I want our
young girls
resources
getting raped
devoted
and
towards.
murdered
I
by
want to
illegal
worry.
immigrants,
Okay,
and
see,
then we're
now this is
even.
when you turn into a terrible person because you're using young girls getting assaulted for your political aims because you suck at
No, bro.
arguing.
That's what's going on
That is
in
what
the
you're doing
world,
right
bro.
now. You're
Look up
bringing up.
Lincoln
No,
Wiley,
no,
bro.
but what my approach
Bro,
is: use
Google
all
Lincoln
resources.
Wiley, bro.
Use all resources we can. Use all resources we can going after people who are doing violent crimes. Do not waste resources and our taxpayer dollars supporting people who are innocent and who came in legally. Now, you could bring up Lake and Riley. You could bring up a bunch of different people, but that one person getting killed by that terrible individual is not a cause to remove our constitutional rights. We should not remove our constitutional rights because one person was killed by a murderer. We
Bro,
should
that's not
not. We
removing
should not
their
allow the
rights.
state to just
No
arrest
one's
people
rights have been
because they
removed.
accuse them of something. We should
Bro.
not allow the federal government to arrest people just from accusing them of something. We should not allow the federal government to arrest you just because they accuse you of something and send you to a foreign camp just because
So
they
wait a
accuse
second.
you.
Do you really think that the U.S. government is going to sit there and share like confidential stuff and like classified
It's not
stuff to the
confidential.
public
That's not
regarding
classified or
terrorist
confidential.
organizations?
You don't know what those
When they
words
were
mean.
investigating
That's
the
not
Taliban
either.
and
That's
stuff
not
like
either of
that,
those
were they
things.
giving out information to the public?
It's not the same ordeal when you're taking
Bro, yes,
legal
it is. They're
citizens out of
categorized as
America,
a
or you're
terrorist
taking illegal
organization.
immigrants out of America.
Bro, that's what I
So,
mean,
so
though.
you're
It's
saying, okay, so you're saying,
confidential,
for
bro. You have to
example,
have
so
clearance,
by your
bro. That's why they're
justification,
not
but you're saying, for
releasing it off to the
example,
media.
so you're saying if the president says you're a terrorist, they can then deport you with no due process, even if you're an American citizen.
I mean, they did it literally with the Muslims and stuff like that.
Oh, so you're
and all the
okay with that?
Taliban.
See, I'm pro-American freedom. I'm pro-freedom. So I'm pro-constitution. You're not pro-constitution. That's
Bro, they
fine.
literally
I'll be
proved it
principled.
already.
You'll be stupid.
That's
I'll
what
be
I'm saying. You
principled.
really
You'll
don't
be
know what you're
stupid.
talking
That's
about.
okay. That's okay. You have demonstrated clearly in this conversation. You don't know what's going on. You just have all
Bro,
these angry
dude,
things. You're emotional.
what's
You have a
going
lot of issues, and that's okay. I think it's okay for all of
Bro,
us to have
more
our own
than half
emotional
the
days.
country
And now
already
you're
agrees
crying.
what's
And
going
again, you're
on.
saying more than half the country agrees what's going on.
They do.
Regardless, I care
That's
with
why
the
there's
American
no
principles.
Democrats and they can't find anyone to put in office.
Yeah, I actually don't know any Democrats. I never
Bro,
met
that's
one.
why you guys are losing so bad.
That's why
You
you're
guys want
losing. Yeah,
training.
yeah,
You
yeah.
guys literally want
So get
training
away from the
to
point.
compete
Get away
with
from the
girls.
point. Get away from the point. Get away from the point because you can't deal
Bro,
with the
I'm
point.
just saying how
Emotional
lunatic
appeals,
stuff.
emotional appeals,
'Cause,
emotional
bro,
appeals, emotional
your
appeals,
point of view
emotional
is not
appeals,
valid.
emotion.
You probably
Emotion.
support
Oh, you're gonna say your point of view is
men
not.
with
See, that's how you win a
women's
debate.
sports. That's what I'm
You win
saying,
a
bro.
conversation by just saying your point of view is not valid. Your
It's
point
not,
of view is.
bro.
You sound like
You
you sound like the
literally would
worst
support.
socialist 18-year-old on college
So do you
campuses ever.
support
Why does the
men and
far
women's
right?
sports?
Why does the far right become SJWs? Why do you guys become the most sissy, pathetic little losers that can't make a point for yourself? You have to use these
Bro,
emotional appeals. Be like, your argument is
Sissy, bro, you
invalid.
probably would
You
lose
sound
in
like
a
the worst
fight, bro.
snowflake of
You're,
all
like,
time.
strong
Your
as
argument
hell,
is
bro.
invalid. Your argument is
Bro,
invalid, buddy.
you probably
Your
get your
argument's
girls going
invalid.
all the time
Your
if
argument
you
is
even have one.
invalid. Why are you so sassy, bro? You are gay. Holy crap.
Bro.
Your argument is invalid. Your
Bro,
argument
I
is
feel
actually
like you've probably done some
invalid,
stuff.
and everyone doesn't like you. Your argument's
Bro,
invalid, and everyone
you keep
doesn't like
talking
you, and
about
I'm
gay,
right.
bro. You're
Because
the one that
Daddy
keeps
Trump
bringing it up.
cares.
Maybe you're
Daddy
gay
Trump
deep down.
cares. Your argument's invalid. I won the debate. Debate over.
Hello.
Hi, this is the politics thing.
Hi, this is Jolah.
Yeah, what's up?
Am I on your?
Yeah, you're live. You're live.
Shy. Oh, okay, good. I'm just curious now. I've been listening to you. I like listening to your show. I'm definitely a Trump supporter for the most part. But I do like listening to you because you bring up a lot of valid points very often. Now, my question is, it's more of a question than like a debate. So, like, I agree that people do deserve due process. So, say I'm ICE. I round up 10 guys. I believe these 10 guys are part of a gang. What would be the proper steps for due process for that? Should we allow them to be released, or should we hold them in encampment until they're in for a trial? Like, what would be the right due process for something like that?
So for this current situation that we know about, like we already have them in shackles and handcuffs, and they're they're no longer a threat to the American people. Okay, and we're gonna send them to forced labor camp in El Salvador, which is by definition slavery. And you could use whatever word you want to say, but if you're in a prison for life and you're doing forced labor, and if you're wrongly sent there, especially, then it is a form of like slavery or at least forced labor, which is still really bad. So the alternative would be, even if there were camps or, I don't know, a prison where you'd keep people in while they go through these processes, even if those conditions weren't good, it would be much more preferable or preferable versus sending them to a foreign freaking prison, which I think is insane because, like I always say, we have at least 24 people who could have easily provided their documentation, who could have easily provided that they've gone to every court date, every ICE meeting since they came in legally through legal ports of entry. There's that one barber who's gay and escaped Venezuela. There's the professional soccer player who was brutally tortured by electric shock from the regime in Venezuela and escaped to America through a legal port of entry and is here legally seeking legal asylum. Like, that's the point of asylum laws. Like, this is someone doing it the exact right way, and has had zero issues in America. Like, those people, you need even like you need the very base level of evidence or due process for that person to be not sent to an El Salvador prison. Even if you wanted to deport them, somewhere, sending them to forced labor camps is like the ultimate punishment that they're justifying under the Alien Enemies Act for terrorists, because they designate gang members as terrorists. So that's my big thing there is, like, yeah, you isolate the threat if you think it's a threat, but there's no reason to rush them out of the country instantly. And I guarantee you, rushing it costs more money too. Having that mass operation, like the video they did, like we're spending our taxpayer dollars having a bunch of actors and drones taking this hype video for this shit. Like, it's just crazy to me.
So you think we should have like detainment centers here, and then detain them, hold them, and then give them their fair shake, whether it be a trial or hearing or whatever it is, and then decide after that whether we should deport them altogether?
Yeah, and I mean, if you're in a situation where you say they are imminent threats to the public, then yeah, even if the conditions are not good, once you're in an El Salvador labor camp and you have no record of who you sent there, that person's basically dead. They execute people all the time who don't work, and they basically work people till they're like unable to work anymore and kill them in El Salvador. It's actually an insane system. Especially if Trump is like floating the idea of sending American citizens there, which is
that's
super scary. But yeah, if it's a threat, isolate the threat, and once they're no longer a threat, even if it's bad conditions, like I said, like we could easily find, like, I think one person had a court date the next day where they were going to prove their tattoos were not gang affiliated, the tattoo artist that they got sent to the El Salvador prison. And it's like, yeah, like even the most minor due diligence would have saved that person.
But that person was still illegal here. He was
no, they were seeking
country.
asylum. They came through a legal port of entry and was seeking legal asylum, and they were tortured. Like, one of them was tortured by electric shock. Yeah, and like when you talk about like Venezuela tortured by the regime from electric shock and making it here, that's 100% a clean asylum case. By definition, that's the exact case we should be taking for asylum.
Yeah. All right, that makes sense. But it's like I just have trouble figuring out like understanding what would be the right moves to, like you said, you detain them, but then we'd have to have detainment camps here. So now we have detainment camps holding hundreds of people. And then what do we do? Like, how do you prove that they are gang affiliated or not? And then if they're illegal, then you just hope that if you can't prove it, you just let them back in? Do you like give them citizenship? Like, what do you do? What's the next step from there?
It would be like, essentially, if you can prove they're gang affiliated, if you can identify tattoos or whatever, then you can, if they've done something illegal, talk about sending them back, or holding them in America. If you cannot prove any connection at all, then it gives space for people who are innocent. Like these individuals who are here seeking legal asylum have attorneys looking for them. They have lawyers and immigration courts looking for them. So like I said, whatever the process is, whatever the due process is going to be, there needs to be a due process and a day in court to make sure we're not sending innocent people. Because like, in these situations where the government does this executive power with federal agents, and if we're going to say the president can designate who's a terrorist or not, I do not want a situation where the president can say, hey, that person's a terrorist, and send federal agents at them, put them in a van, no documentation, put them off, ship them to a prison or a camp somewhere, and disappear them. Because eventually, if regimes keep on doing that over and over and over again, they get cocky, and they might get some U.S. citizens eventually wrapped up in that. And that's why the due process in the Constitution says all people Because let's say you're a tourist in America and they accuse you of a crime. That's the difference between us and North Korea. You're a tourist in North Korea, they accuse you of a crime, like that one college kid they beat up and killed, essentially, Otto. That person's screwed. There's no due process in these third world countries and these dictatorships. But in America, we do have due process. So if you're in America, you're a tourist, you're accused of a crime, you have your day in court. That's why it's for all persons in America. And also because if you could take a body off the street, any human body, and put them in a cage and ship them off somewhere without any due process, that can be literally anyone. And the only thing at that point protecting you is public opinion. If they're too scared to deport like someone they disagree with, who's like an American citizen, because they're scared the public reaction is going to be too much.
Do you think they should be detained until their hearing?
If they're gonna say that they're terrorist organizations and they are making the claim that they're imminent threats to the public, I mean, I don't know what other recourse that would be. Because that'd be their argument is like, oh, if we let them out, they're gonna be dangerous to the community. So at least to isolate that argument, because anyone in like law enforcement or military or anything, anyone anywhere knows if you have them shackled and handcuffed and detainment, they're not a threat to the public anymore. And if your number one goal truly is making America safer, you don't need to rush it, because then we're having unnecessary resources being spent to deport legal, innocent, peaceful, like people who are truly in America, came in the right way. They're here to make America better.
Yeah, but wouldn't it be more expensive to detain them and have detainment camps and feed and imprison them here? Isn't that more expensive than, say, deporting?
When you say more expensive, I'd probably say it costs like a penny per American to do this entire operation. There's a lot of people in America, and I think Thomas Franklin had the what's his name? Not him. Thomas Jefferson. I just combined Thomas Jefferson. Is it Thomas Jefferson or Benjamin Franklin? I forgot who said the quote. Who said the quote? Is it Benjamin Franklin or Thomas Jefferson? I know I said Thomas Franklin, I think. Or
Are you saying it's only going to cost a penny per American to detain them?
Yeah, no, but the quote is, I'd rather.
Like per day? What do you mean when you say
okay, when it comes
American?
to the price of freedom and for the price of like violating the Constitution and due process, it's pennies on the dollar. And we're paying El Salvador millions of dollars to do this too. We're paying them millions of dollars. So yeah, in terms of like total cost, it's not that much money, considering we give trillions of dollars to tax cuts for the ultra wealthy. And I think Benjamin Franklin, I want to say he said it, but essentially, you'd rather let 100 criminals walk free than to jail or execute one innocent person. That's the premise of due process and the premise of our Constitution. So if we don't have those values upheld, and if we don't take the steps necessary to maintain due process, there is no first or second or third or whatever amendment anymore if there's no due process.
All right, that's all I really had a question about. I was just kind of curious in your perspective on that one.
I guess it's like a slippery, you could say it's a slippery slope argument, but also
that's why because even I kind of feel like both ways. At the same time, yeah, I do want to deport the illegals, especially the criminals. I mean, more than anything, the criminals. And I feel like there should be definitely a better pathway for people trying to get to this country to be able to get, if not citizenship, at least like the asylum ones, and then like the green card holders. For them, like it shouldn't take months and years and stuff to go, especially if like you have all their information from their original country of origin, like, and you know about them and you have their history and you have proof of all this. I feel like there definitely should be easier channels for them to get into this country. But at the same time, I've seen a bunch of documentaries on like the MS-13, the Tren de Aragua, or however you say it, and like when you watch those documentaries, it is scary when you see like these 13, 14, 15-year-old kids that are coming from different countries, and then they're being manipulated by people here already part of those gangs in this country, and then it's like they have no way out, and then it's like, but it's like you want to stop that, you want to get them out, but like you said, you're right, people do deserve due process, whether be American, like you said, it is all people, they do deserve at least their fair shake.
Yeah, like the most disgusting mass killer in the world deserves due process, because if they don't have it, none of us have it. It's one of those things where if one person loses the right, we all lose it. And that's just the legal framework behind it. And the big thing with ICE right now, they've been deporting like green card and permanent residents and visa holders, and people doing it the right way too, because ICE has quotas. They have very high quotas, which like you never want law enforcement to have freaking quotas. Like police officers having quotas for traffic stops was always bad when they did it, which they don't really allow that anymore, because they just look for people to pull over or look for people to arrest. And ICE right now has quotas, so they're going really aggressively at everyone right now to try and detain them or find a reason for detention. And that's also really scary. And like, if you're my hypothetical, I always say too to people is, let's say you have someone who's tan, was born in America, and they're out for a jog, and they don't have any documentation on them. They don't have a phone. They just have their watch. And ICE pulls up and says, "Hey, we recognize you. That tattoo, is gang affiliated. You're a member of this gang." And you say, "No, I'm not." But they say, "Well, we have identified you. We have designated you as part of a gang. Get in the car." And you're now put into this van. You're taken 20 states away. No documentation, no record you were ever even taken, because the White House has made it very clear with the DHS they don't care about making sure your family knows where you are, or right to legal attorney. If they're going to say you're a terrorist and you have to get out of the country, you could be running, get picked up in a van, and I don't know, deported with a group of people they say are all terrorists, and we wouldn't even know it. We would not even know it unless if the family knew, or there's a legal person involved, or whatever it might be. And that's the threat of not having due process be the standard, because you really can, I know people think this is a very far away thing, but whether you like Trump or not, there's definitely federal agents in America who are willing to do shit like that. There's bad people everywhere, whether you think Trump would or Trump wouldn't, or whatever politician you have. And in countries like, I guess, like Hungary or Russia or North Korea or China, whatever it might be, there's people who are willing to do that. And yeah, it's just we never want that to be the standard in America, because it might come for us eventually. What if we disagree with a politician and they say, "Hey, federal agent, go get this guy and take him out of the country," and now they ship an innocent person to El Salvador to work forced labor and die pretty much, and they're like, "I don't care, he's a terrorist anyway. We had to get him out of here." Like, playing on people's fears to violate constitutional rights is super the big deal here.
Yeah, I agree on that one for sure.
All right, I appreciate the call. I appreciate the calm conversation. I don't know if you heard the last one.
Yeah, I know. The last guy, that conversation was all over the place.
I should probably just shut people like that down, because that's not helping anyone.
Yeah, there's no healthy debate there. There's no conversation. Nobody's learning anything. It's just pure. It's just pointless.
Yeah, definitely.
All right,
well, yeah, thank you for
doing
the
what
call,
you're doing, man. I like your show.
I appreciate that, man. Have a great night.
You too.
We will change this country. Okay, I have to go through some donations, I think. I did not read the donations over here. Thank you for dropping likes and subscribing. Thank you, Sri, for the gifted membership. Thank you, Sri. Court, thank you, dumb redneck color. Oh, yeah, red color neck. Okay. Thank you for the donation, $2 earlier. Well, $2, Teresa. Oh, I did read this when you sent it. It was from the guy that was yelling. Yeah, well, thank you for $2. Thank you for the donation. Let me see. 15 Australian dollars? Is that what the A means? Thank you, Glenn. Thank you, Glenn. Thank you for the super chat. Someone sent me something on Cash App as well. If you have a chance, please donate to Cash App, PayPal, or Venmo. If you have the funds available, I'm trying to. I have a goal. If once I hit. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much on Cash App. RJ. Said Jolah's streams brother. Okay, well, yeah, thank you for the $5, RJ, and also initials M and $10. Fight the good fight. Thank you so much for $10 on Cash App. Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you for the donation. Really appreciate it. You can see through the last conversation. My channel is probably, if you're gonna support a channel, I mean, come on, dude, come on. You gotta support this channel so I can get real big and send the good word. If I do get to $1,000 in donations, I'm at like 15 now. I'm only counting the ones through Venmo or Cash App or whatever that go there, not really on YouTube. But once I get $1,000 in donations to Cash App or Venmo or whatever, I'm gonna announce my run for Congress. And this is real, by the way. It is real. It is real. Don't be deceived. Typical liberal. Good argument. Spare change. Yeah, spare change, please. Give me your spare change. I need it. Unironically, please. Please. Okay. Please do run. Hey, once I hit the goal, I'll be running. I was talking today to someone, and I was talking on like a call, like a work call. And I said something, and someone sent me like a Zoom message during the call saying, "Hey, I just spoke once, and they messaged me and said, "Hey, I would watch it if you had a podcast. I'd watch it." They said if you had a podcast, I'd watch it, and it's like, hey, I just said one answer. It's like, hey, sometimes you just got it though. Sometimes you just got it. Sometimes you just got that, you just got that it sometimes, Nice. Calling on the show. Okay. We're gonna do another. Should I do another reset for the stream maybe? Interactive podcast? Yeah, I guess so. Let's do this. If you want to jump ahead of the call-in line, you could also donate $10 with your first name and your phone number. That is another way to do it. I'm not sure if that was. Yeah, okay. Cool. I don't know if my PayPal still works because I shifted it to a business account. I'm not sure how that really works, but it's okay. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to restart my YouTube Shorts one more time. So if you guys are watching YouTube Shorts, as you know, I have 2 streams running at all times. I'm going to restart it just for the algorithm purposes, see if we get some new callers. Someone said get a job. No, I do have a job. I'm just poor. I'm just a poor. If you want to call into the show, call back in like 2 minutes. I'm resetting my YouTube Shorts for the algorithm to get new people in here, hopefully new callers. Give me 1 second, brother. I'll call you right back. But yeah, I have 2 streams on my channel, one that's like the regular screen wide and one that's long, shorts and horizontal. I'm directing you to the horizontal if you want to watch it there, but I am restarting the short stream. It'll be right back up. Thank you for all the support. Thank you for liking and subscribing, guys. Thank you.